We all face moments of uncertainty, times when doors seem closed and our path forward unclear. But today I want to remind you of a powerful truth. God will open the right door at the right time. In life, we often push and strive, thinking that we must make things happen on our own. But God's plan is far greater than our own efforts. He knows the perfect moment to open doors that lead us to our purpose. In Revelation 3:8, it says, I have set before you an open door which no one is able to shut. That door, when it opens, no one can close. But here's the thing, sometimes the door remains closed because God is still preparing us. He is strengthening our faith, building our character, and shaping our future. The waiting is not in vain. It is part of His divine plan. When the right door opens, it will be a door of opportunity, a door to something greater than we ever imagined. But we must trust that God's timing is perfect, even when it doesn't match our own. So if you feel like you're at a crossroads today, discouraged by closed doors, don't lose heart. Keep seeking Him, keep trusting, and know that when the time is right, God will open the door you've been waiting for. Stay faithful, stay hopeful, and walk with confidence because He is already preparing the way for you. Life often presents us with moments of uncertainty when we stand at the threshold of a door that seems closed or at a crossroads where the path forward is unclear. In those moments, it's easy to feel discouraged, to wonder if we're on the right track or if we'll ever find our way through the maze of challenges we face. The temptation to give up, to turn back, or to try to force open the doors that seem to be locked is strong. But I'm here to tell you today, God will open the right door at the right time, so don't be discouraged. We live in a world that places so much emphasis on immediate results, on quick fixes, and on making things happen on our own terms. We want answers now. We want solutions today. We want to see progress immediately. The pressure to succeed, to get things right, and to have control can be overwhelming. We often equate success with opening doors on our own, pushing through obstacles, and making things happen by sheer willpower. But the truth is, there are moments when no matter how hard we try, no matter how determined we are, the door simply won't open. And in those moments, we are reminded that we are not in control of everything. It is then that we must surrender to something greater than ourselves, the will and timing of God. The Bible is full of promises about God's guidance and provision. One of the most powerful assurances comes from Revelation 3:8, where God speaks to His people saying, Behold, I have set before you an open door which no one is able to shut. That is a promise that should bring peace to our hearts. God in His sovereignty has control over the doors in our lives. When He opens a door, no one can shut it. And when He shuts a door, it is not to leave us stuck, but to redirect us towards something greater. This is the truth we must cling to when the door in front of us appears locked and we feel discouraged. So often we look at closed doors and see them as setbacks, as obstacles to our success. But what if those closed doors are actually a blessing in disguise? What if God is keeping us from something that isn't part of His perfect plan for us? Our limited human perspective often fails to see the bigger picture. We don't know what's on the other side of a door, but God does, and He knows exactly what we need when we need it. Trusting in His wisdom requires faith, the faith to believe that He has our best interests at heart, even when the door remains shut and we don't understand why. It is in these moments of waiting, when the door seems closed and the future feels uncertain, that our faith is tested and strengthened. We learn that our timing is not God's timing. We learn that our plans are not always aligned with His. In the book of Isaiah, we are reminded of this truth. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Isaiah 55:8-9. God sees the whole picture. He knows the journey ahead, the people we will meet, and the lessons we need to learn. What we see as a closed door may actually be part of a divine detour, leading us to something better, something more aligned with the purpose He has for us. We must also remember that while we wait for the door to open, God is preparing us. He is not idle while we are in our waiting seasons. Every closed door, every delay is an opportunity for growth. It is a chance for us to build patience, to deepen our trust, and to lean into His guidance. Think about the seasons in your life when you faced obstacles, only to look back later and realize how much stronger, wiser, and more resilient you had become. As these moments shape us, refine us, and prepare us for what lies ahead. Consider the example of David, who spent years waiting for the promise of kingship to be fulfilled. Anointed as a young man, he faced rejection, betrayal, and hardship before he ever sat on the throne. He could have given up. He could have taken matters into his own hands, trying to force the door open by his own strength, but instead, David chose to trust in God's timing. He understood that the door to the throne would open only when God was ready. In the meantime, God was preparing David's heart, his leadership skills, and his character to be the king Israel needed. The same is true for us. God may be allowing us to face challenges, to endure waiting, or to experience times of uncertainty, not as punishment, but as preparation. The door will open at the right moment, but only after we have been shaped, molded, and made ready for the opportunity on the other side. If we rush through the waiting, if we try to force the door open before it's time, we might miss out on the very growth God wants to bring about in our lives. There's another important truth to remember. When God opens the right door for us, no one can shut it. The world may try to close doors, people may try to hinder our progress, and circumstances may appear to conspire against us, but the promise of God stands firm. He is the one who opens doors, and when He opens them, nothing and no one can close them. This is a promise of hope and assurance. When the right opportunity comes, whether it's a new job, a new relationship, a new calling, or a new season in life, know that it is a door that God has opened. And because He has opened it, we can walk through it with confidence, knowing that He is with us every step of the way. But we must also be careful not to become discouraged in the waiting. The time between the closed door and the open door is not wasted time. It is a time of preparation, of trust, and of deepening our relationship with God. It is easy to look at others and feel that they are moving ahead while we are stuck in place. But each person's journey is unique. What God is doing in your life is not the same as what He is doing in someone else's. If you need to know what God is doing in your life is not the same as what He is doing in someone else's, trust that He is working all things together for your good, even when you cannot see it. When God opens the right door for you, it will lead to opportunities that you could never have orchestrated on your own. It will be a door that leads to purpose, to fulfillment, and to blessings beyond what you can imagine. So, as you stand before a door that seems closed, I encourage you, do not be discouraged. Trust in God's timing. Trust in His plan. Keep seeking, keep praying, keep trusting, because the right door will open, and when it does, you will be ready. As we reflect on the journey of life, we must remember that while we often seek control over the doors that lie before us, it is God who holds the keys. There are seasons when the doors of opportunity seem closed, when we feel stuck in place, and when our efforts to make progress seem futile. These moments can be disheartening, frustrating, and filled with doubt. Yet in these moments of uncertainty, we are called to trust not in our own strength, but in God's plan for our lives. For He knows what is best for us, and His timing is always perfect. God's promise to us is that He will open the right door at the right time, and no one can shut it. This truth should give us great peace. When we find ourselves in front of a closed door, it's easy to become discouraged, to question whether we've made a mistake, or if we will ever move forward. But the reality is, closed doors are often divine redirections, not signs of failure. Just as a parent protects their child from stepping into danger, God protects us from situations and opportunities that might not align with His greater purpose for us. He knows what lies behind each door, and in His infinite wisdom, He withholds what we are not yet ready to handle, while also preparing us for what is to come. We often forget that God's ways are far higher than our own. We see only a small portion of the road ahead, but God sees the entire path, every twist, every turn, every obstacle, and every blessing. The closed doors we face are not roadblocks, but part of a bigger story He is weaving in our lives. They are stepping stones leading us to something greater, something more beautiful than we could have ever imagined. When we wait, when we trust in Him, we align ourselves with His perfect plan and allow His purpose to unfold in ways that far exceed our understanding. The time of waiting can feel like the hardest part. It's not easy to stand still when we want so badly to move forward. The world pushes us to act, to achieve, to prove ourselves. And when we don't see immediate results, the temptation to give up becomes overwhelming. But waiting doesn't mean inactivity. It's a time of preparation. It's a time for God to strengthen our faith, to deepen our trust, and to refine us for the opportunities that lie ahead. Just as an athlete trains for a race, preparing in the quiet moments before the competition begins, God uses the waiting seasons to train us, to build our endurance, and to develop the character needed for the journey ahead. Without these seasons of preparation, we would not be ready for the doors that God is preparing to open. Consider the stories of those in Scripture who had to wait for God's promises to come to fruition. Abraham was promised descendants as numerous as the stars, but he waited for many years before that promise came to pass. Joseph was given a vision of greatness, but it took years of betrayal, hardship, and imprisonment before he saw the fulfillment of that vision. David was anointed as king, but spent years running from Saul, enduring hardship, and waiting for God's perfect time. Each of these individuals had to trust in God's timing, to wait patiently, and to believe that the doors He would open would be worth the wait. And when those doors did open, they were ushered into a destiny far greater than anything they could have achieved on their own. In our own lives, it's easy to feel discouraged when doors seem closed, especially when we see others moving ahead. We may wonder why things are taking longer for us, or why others seem to be getting ahead while we are left behind. But we must remember that everyone's journey is unique. God's plan for you is different from His plan for someone else. The door He is preparing for you will be the one that is perfect for your purpose. The key is to remain patient and faithful, to trust that He will open the door when the time is right. The waiting is not wasted. It is part of His process of preparing us for what is to come. When God opens a door, we can walk through it with confidence, knowing that He has been with us all along. We can step forward into the future with the assurance that we are walking in His will. And when we walk through the doors that He has opened, we can rest in the knowledge that He has already prepared the way. The path ahead may not always be easy, but it will be the right path, the one that leads to the life He has called us to live. It may not always be clear at first, and there may still be challenges ahead, but we will know that we are exactly where we are meant to be. There is peace in knowing that God is in control. We do not have to force our way through doors, to strive for success on our own, or to make things happen in our own strength. God is the one who opens and closes doors. And when He opens the right door for us, no one can shut it. And in those times when the door is closed, we can trust that He is at work behind the scenes, orchestrating everything according to His perfect plan. So the next time you find yourself standing in front of a closed door, remember this: God will open the right door when the time is right. Trust in His timing, trust in His plan, and know that every door He opens will lead you to greater opportunities, greater blessings, and a future that is far better than anything you could have planned on your own. Stay faithful in the waiting, keep trusting, and believe that the doors that God opens for you will be the right ones, and nothing will stand in the way of His perfect will for your life. And as you wait for the doors to open, know that He is with you every step of the way, preparing you for the future that He has already planned. Stay encouraged, stay hopeful, and stay faithful, for the right door will open at the perfect time, and when it does, you will be ready to walk through it into the life God has designed for you. Keep trusting. He has already prepared the way.